All right, this is the Unit 6 review. We're going to do 3 questions here. The task for these problems is to simplify these trig expressions. And we have these different tables over here, and I've kind of cut and pasted what I think we're going to use. So it's kind of like a puzzle a little bit. So our goal is how can we manipulate these expressions so they shrink up and things cancel out and disappear and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to notice is I notice this pi over 2 minus theta. And obviously that represents these cofunction identities. So the one I want to use is, it says secant. And I notice right here secant. So all of that is equivalent to cosecant. So all of this here, I still have sine of theta, nothing changes there, times, and all of this right here, based on the information from the table, turns to cosecant theta. Okay, so a little bit cleaner, but really not that much more simple. So I'm going to look at a different part of the table. And these reciprocal identities and the quotient identities are used quite often in these type of problems. So I notice right here in my reciprocal identities, okay, but this very first one, cosecant of theta is equal to 1 over sine. So I'm going to change this to 1 over sine. So now I have sine of theta times 1 over sine of theta. And using our basic math knowledge here, I know that those are going to cross-cancel each other out. And I'm left with just 1 for an answer. A lot of times people want to put 0, but be careful. When things cross-cancel out in fractions, they don't disappear. They just turn into 1. Okay, next problem. I'm going to go ahead and erase some of this stuff. Okay, cotangent. So I'm going to look at cotangent here. Now, cotangent has 2 options. I can look up in the reciprocal identities, right there, 1 over tangent, or I can look at the quotient identities. And I notice cosine over sine. Now, since there is a sine of theta in my problem, then I'm going to go with this one, because it wouldn't do me any good to have 1 over tangent. Nothing would cancel. It would add fractions to the problem, make it uglier. So I'm going to turn cotangent of theta into cosine over sine. So now cosine of theta over sine of theta times sine of theta. And like the last problem, these are going to cross cancel. And I'm left with just cosine of theta for a final answer. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and erase these. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually pull them down a little bit so I can continue to see them. Okay, sine over tangent. I'm going to go ahead and leave sine alone, but I'm going to change tangent here. So here I've got sine of x over, and again, tangent of x, I could make it into 1 over cotangent, or I could make it into sine over cosine. I'm going to choose sine over cosine, because again, I notice I have sine in my problem, so hopefully things cancel out or can combine. So this will change to sine of x over cosine of x. So all of this was tangent of x, and now it's changing to sine of x over cosine of x. Now we have fractions within fractions. Okay, and the way we get rid of that is we multiply by the reciprocal. Cosine of x over sine of x. And just like the last two problems, a lot of sines canceling out here. My answer again is cosine of x. And it doesn't matter what your variable is. It can be theta, it can be x. That interchanges within the tables as well.